She's gonna help me out today because I felt like this was a an important topic, but I don't know enough about it to do something. So she does. So together, hopefully, we can work this out. And we have another helper here. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this over to her for a moment.
Okay, so hi everybody. Yeah, my name is Cami. I'm 21. I'm a senior at MIT. Also, I'm Karen Garland's daughter. I've been doing a lot of computer science and cybersecurity stuff for a couple years now. I recently helped out with a small town of about 7,000 in Massachusetts, and I redid their cybersecurity framework so that they can protect themselves against scammers because they had some issues in the past. So this is something that I do know a lot about, but we're just going to kind of get into the overview and how it relates to teachers today.
Our agenda today is it covers 6 sections. What is phishing? How schools are exploited, common tactics, how to avoid a scam, reporting a scam, and then spot the scam. We'll start off with what is phishing?
So you guys have probably heard the term before. It's getting increasingly used nowadays because these scams happen all the time. So phishing is just a fraudulent attempt to obtain some sensitive information by pretending to be somebody that you trust. So people will send you emails, they'll send you text messages, they'll give you fake websites trying to get you to click on it so that they can get your info such as your login credentials, your credit card information, and your social security number. For schools, the biggest source of phishing is going to be probably through emails, but there are other avenues as well. And if at any point you guys have any questions, I am just gonna I talk a lot and I just kind of go through it. So feel free to interrupt me to ask all your questions.
And Wendy, I can't see the chat from what we're doing. So if something pops up in a question, just stop and holler.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so 3.4 billion of phishing emails are sent out every day. That is crazy. So that means that 1.2% of all emails are a scam, and that's basically one for every 100 emails that you're getting is a scam. That doesn't sound like a lot, but in the long run of things, it's terrible.
And when you factor in how many emails you're getting a day, you're going to be getting a lot of these emails. So it's really important that you can find out which ones are real and which ones are fake. And of these 3.4 billion, about 30% of these phishing emails are clicked on, are interacted with, and there are even higher percentages in schools. There hasn't been a real study on it, but like the data shows that it's probably higher, about 40 to 50% in schools.
So our next topic are how schools are exploited.
So schools are really popular targets, and you're probably thinking, why us? Why not go for like the government or something like that? And they do, but when it comes down to it, the reason schools are targeted is because there is this lack of awareness within schools on how to deal with it. So teachers, mostly are not trained in cybersecurity. Students surely are not trained in cybersecurity. And phishers know this, and they try and take advantage of the lack of awareness here. And in addition to that, you have a very large volume of users. There's thousands of faculty, students, administrators, all on this same network. And the network is not protected. It's free Wi-Fi, so it's easy for them to get into. Then you also have the open computers, such as through computer labs, and there is also really, really valuable information about students and staff that they can get And once they get into one user system, it's like they've hit the jackpot. They have all of this valuable information that they can access just from getting into this one account. So this is a scam that happened recently. This happened in 2021. I guess that's not recently anymore. Um, but this happened to a school district just like the ones that you guys teach at. This is Spotsylvania Schools in Virginia, and they were scammed out of over $600,000. And this all just came from a phishing email. So the scammers came in and they posed as contractors for the district doing work for them, sent these emails, and these emails included the school's logo, made people think they were real if they didn't stop and look at it for more than a few seconds. So when someone clicked on this email, all of a sudden now you have the entire network that is available to these scammers, and they were able to take over $600,000.
Next, we're going to talk about the impact of phishing on schools and students themselves. An average cost of successful phishing attack on an educational institution is over $2 million. That's when you factor in the downtime, the lost data, and of course your IT department trying to do their recovery efforts.
Yeah, absolutely. If you think about how much money you lose when you guys can't access your network, you can't teach your students. And if there is a phishing attack, obviously schools have to be closed so that they can recover all of this data. And IT recovery efforts can include ransom. A lot of times when phishers take your information, they will hold it for ransom and ask for a certain amount back. And that is a whole separate issue, but that is just one of the effects of phishing.
I had a question.
Yeah.
So the case in Virginia, were they caught and charged? And did the district get their money back? Or I mean, is there like insurance to protect districts?
There is insurance that can be bought. A lot of school districts do not have it. And in this case, I'm not quite sure if they were caught or not, but I do know for the most part, over 90% of scammers are not caught because they are international, and it's really hard to track. So I would say that was probably the case. And so in most cases, they just take the loss and just recover their data. But yes, there is insurance that can be used, that will cover any phishing scams. But a lot of schools do not have it, and I'm unsure if they had it or not.
One compromised account can lead to a collapse of the entire school district. So, just the pressures of knowing that and knowing that we get these emails like every day, it's a little intimidating.
Yeah, so phishing is like the flu. If one student has it, they come to school, all of a sudden the entire school's sick. So, phishing, if one person has it, then now we're in the network, the entire network's gonna get it. Or not gonna get it, but there's a potential that they could. And this could expose everyone's information and crash networks for days.
Common tactics of phishing scams is our next topic. There's a few different ways that you can do this. The first one is email phishing.
Yeah, so I did mention this earlier. This is the most common kind of attack, especially that you guys will see as educators. So this is when they, obviously send a fake email and try and get you to click on it and interact with it. And so they really are just trying to take advantage of your busy schedule here and try and catch you when you're multitasking and not really going to look at the email properly. If you do investigate it, you can pretty much tell when they are not real. And these are just an attempt to blend in with your inbox noise. So, for example, common emails that teachers get deal with grading. I'm not a teacher, but I hear about it. So, for example, an email that you could get that is phishing is the grade book is down. Try and log in here to manage your class submissions. And it would actually be a fake link, and you would click on it and put in your login credentials, and all of a sudden they have your login. The link may work, but it's actually fake and it's designed to steal your password. Then we have spear phishing, and this isn't mutually exclusive from email phishing. These can be, you can have an email that is being speared phished towards you. So spear phishing is a personalized attack where the scammer does their research ahead of time to make the message seem more realistic. So, for example, you receive an email from someone pretending to be the vice principal, but they've done their research. They have your vice principal's name as their display name, and they're asking you to review a disciplinary document. And since this message includes your full name and references your department, you think that it's credible, but the attachment's actually a phishing tool that installs malware. And this is something that's not as common, but it does happen. It'd be like, "Dear Karen Garland, we've seen that through this program, you need to verify your login," or something like that, where they reference you by name and things about you that aren't very hard to look up, but they make it feel like it's someone that you do know and that you do trust. However, if it does seem suspicious and someone is pretending to be a person when they email you, you can contact that person separately and see if that's actually them. Okay. And now I'm realizing I've been talking super fast. So again, guys, you can stop me at any point. But now we have SMS phishing or smishing because they have all these funny names for some reason. But this is anything you're going to get that is a text message or a phone call. So, for example, a scammer may call saying, "We've noticed unusual login attempts from your school account. To prevent suspension, confirm your password over the phone," which obviously legitimate IT staff will never ask for your password this way. But it is a common scam. They think that now, since you've got your phone number, it feels more personal and you're more likely to fall for it. And with these, they hope that you will click on the link because it's harder to investigate on your phone. A really common example that's not quite school related is I don't know if any of you guys have gotten this, but I get this all the time. It's like you get a fake text message from UPS and it's like, "Oh, we tried to deliver your package, but no one was there. So click this link to reschedule your delivery." Yeah, that's fake. Do not do that. And I've had times where like it makes me think, maybe I did have a package that I didn't know about. But
especially during Christmas.
During Christmas, that's when they get you.
I was getting ready to ask you all about that because I get those all the time, and I'm glad to know that I don't need to click it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that will take you somewhere, and it'll try and get you to log into an account, and from there, they will get your information. So,
Question.
A lot of times, like UPS and USPS, they will never ask you for stuff like that. And you will also be able to tell just in the way that it's written. Most of the time, if USPS or UPS is going to do that, they're going to send you emails and it's going to have the official logo on there and it's going to come from the UPS website.
And
if I click that though, would that actually, like if I didn't go through the whole thing, but I did click the text, would they already hack me or no?
No.
Okay, thank you.
So you can read on the text and you could I mean, you probably don't need to click the website, but if you do click on the link, then it's still not going to install anything unless you did some kind of like login or something like that, you know? What were you going to say?
It's okay.
Okay. Okay. So these are just some overall key characteristics of phishing that you'll see, and relating those back to messages you've probably seen before, and realizing that these are characteristics of scams, and most scams will have something like this. Though they are getting better, but they still do have these. So, for example, you have urgent or threatening language. They need you to click on this link somehow. So they're going to tell you you need to do it right now. They're going to say, if you don't click on it, like your grade book will be down. I don't even know if that's a thing that can happen. Yeah. Okay. Or they're going to say, if you don't log in, we're going to disable your account or something like that. Giving like a small threat that seems very urgent so that you are more likely to click on the link. In addition, I found with every email, with every scam email that I've received, they're always going to have some kind of suspicious email address. So, for example, they might have the same name, but a different domain. And the domain is what comes after the @ sign. So it could be, instead of principal@school.us, it could be principal@ blah, 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 .com. Or a lot of times you will see something at, so it would be like Karen Garland .ky schools, and then they would do @Gmail instead of her actual email, which is @kyschools.us. And then you will have, also sometimes you will have some unfamiliar links or attachments. They'll try and say it like, click here to read about the changes, look at our new policies, things like that, and try and get you to click on those as well. And if you weren't expecting an attachment from a student or an administrator, it is immediately a red flag, especially if the email is really vague, saying like, please see the attached file for requested information.
I actually had a suspicious email last year. I had one of our IT guys come down and check it for me. I felt like it was bad, so that's why I called him. But it didn't have anything to do with my school. It was talking about getting into my personal information and sending out pictures or text or anything like that to my family, to my friends. So I had him to come down. I said, hey, look at this. I don't feel like it's legit, but I just want to make sure. And of course it was spam, but it kind of freaked me out a little bit, enough to where I called IT to come down.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you get these, it is going to be kind of freaky, especially if they're threatening and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to do this or my account's going to be shut down.
Well, knowing that I don't really have anything that would be a secret from my family or my friends, but it was like, what could they do? What could they send to my family? It could be one of these that, your mom's went to the hospital, click on this so you can see her update or something. You just never know what you're getting into with them.
Yeah. And it is pretty scary, and it can make you act quickly without really thinking about it. But if you get something like this, take a breath. Don't let the urgency make you act without verifying anything. And you can always reach out to your IT department for any extra assistance in figuring out whether it's true or not.
They can, just a simple phone call. Just call them, and they can actually, they've got a way to where they can get into your computer and see exactly what you're seeing, like your screen. I don't know how they do that. I'm not IT tech savvy. But yeah, just call them up and say, look, this is what's going on. Check it out for me. Our next topic is how to avoid a phishing scam. We've talked a lot about, okay, this is what you're getting. But we don't talk about what you need to do with it. So this will address that issue, is the phishing scam.
Hello. So The two most important things: always verify the sender and hover over links to see where they actually lead to. So, with verifying the sender, one of the easiest ways to spot a phishing scam is to check the sender's information carefully. Scammers will often disguise themselves to look legitimate, but they do leave little clues in the details. So the display name may be correct, but may have a suspicious sender address. And a lot of times I've noticed that scam emails will come from Gmail accounts. They will have the beginning part of their email address as being the same as what you would expect, but then it has at Gmail. And for most cases, people who are sending you school emails are going to send from their edu or us email. They're not going to send from a Gmail account. And the same for any businesses or anything like that. I know I personally, as I'm trying to get a job, I get a lot of interview scam emails, and those always come from a Gmail. And that's how you figure it out, is like, they would never send me a Gmail. Then we have just hovering over the links. So seeing where the link leads before you click on it. So if you click on a faulty link, you could unintentionally install malware on your computer. This is less likely. Most of the time, if you click on the link, they're just going to try and get your login information. But every now and then there is malware that could be installed. So it is really important that if you get one of these, don't click on the links. If you already had one and it did happen and you clicked on the link, you are probably fine. You would notice by now if you had any malware. So that's good. And then another way to do this is just secure your account. So if someone gets, even if someone gets your login credentials, they can't do anything with it. So I don't know much about your guys' school districts. I don't know if they offer two-factor authentication. My mother's shaking her head yes. Okay.
And I hate it every time that I have to put that code in.
Oh, it's so annoying. It's so annoying.
Yes. If it's going to secure my account, then of course I'm going to have to suck it up and do it.
Yeah. So the best way to do this, first for your password, is make sure you use really strong passwords.
And don't use the same password for everything.
Oh, absolutely. Do not do that. Make sure that your strong passwords are unrelated to personal information. They don't use common words. We're not using password or anything like that. That's not good. I know it's really hard not to use personal info in your passwords, because then you're like, what else could it be? But just come up with something that doesn't have anything to do with you. Using 12 characters, mixing uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and symbols makes it a lot harder for them to get in. We have until 55.
I know.
What? No, I wasn't done.
Oh.
She's silencing me.
I'm worried about running over.
But yeah, so then with two-factor verification, making sure that you have that wherever you can. Even though it's really annoying and you might have to have a second app to go in and verify. I know with MIT, we have to do it for literally everything. But this just makes it where even if someone does get your login info, they can't do anything about it. Because if they try and log into the gradebook or your email or something, you're going to have to verify it yourself.
Most important thing, if anything feels off, do not reply. Just go ahead and contact the IT department, or just delete it, or just don't reply.
Yeah, so if it's really urgent and it's legit, the sender is going to reach out to you in a different way. They are going to, if it's someone from your school, they're going to come ask you in person. They're going to be like, oh, did you see my email? Or they're going to Facebook message you or anything like that. If it's urgent, they will not give up with this one email, and then you will be able to tell if it's real or fake. So just take the time to really look at the emails, and there is no rush to reply.
We have a great question in the chat. One that I think I was looking at everyone's reaction when you said don't use the same passwords. I think we all had the same reaction. Like, is it
I'm guilty of that too.
Oh, I know. I'm like, oh, great. Is it dangerous to have Google save all your passwords?
Good
So
question.
with Google, a lot of times they will encrypt your passwords, which basically means that it is stored in a system where they jumble it up and it's really, really hard for hackers to decode it. However, it is slightly dangerous if someone can get into your Gmail account or your Google account, then they can have access to that. So I would say I would advise against it because it is connected to your Google account. And so all it takes is someone getting that one thing. But they do also have that extra padding behind it. So it's not, I'm trying to think the best way to answer, because it's not just yes or no. Like, I would say I would advise against doing it on anything but your phone. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
another question kind of stems from that. Is the same true for the new update on the iPhone that includes the password app?
Trying to think. So I haven't seen the new update. Is it like it's like an app that stores all of your passwords? Is that what's happening?
Morgan, do you care to elaborate on that? Yes, she said it. Yes.
Okay. That's interesting. With that one, I would say it is since it is just on your phone, it is a little bit more secure, but it is still connected to your iCloud account. But your iCloud account, for the most part, is rooted in two-factor authentication through Face ID, Touch ID, all of those things. And it's also encrypted. So I would say iCloud is definitely safer than Google in terms of how accessible it is to being hacked. Because iCloud also is just like your personal things. I feel like for the most part, you're not logging into like an iCloud on like your school computer and stuff like that. So I would say the iCloud, like if you had the choice, like iCloud is safer. And so doing things like the password app on your iPhone, that is going to be safer than storing your passwords through Google, if that makes sense.
And then one other follow-up question, I apologize. Is Face ID a better option, or is there sorry, I'm sorry, I cannot read today. Is Face ID a better option, or is there something in the way that's still, that you could hack from that?
Did you say, is there something in the that you could still hack from Face ID?
Yes. Or is
Okay.
is Face ID a better option, I guess is the question.
Yeah, Face ID is it is a version of two-factor verification. So once you put in your passwords, then it makes sure that it's actually you. Face ID is not very often, it's not very easy to hack either. Because even, I don't know if you guys have ever tried this. When I was younger and I really wanted to get in my mom's phone, I would like try and like show them a picture of her and like try and get in. And Face ID it uses really high tech facial recognition software. So it is pretty hard to hack. So if you can keep anything behind Face ID, that is going to be more secure. So I would say Face ID is the way to go.
Good questions. Thanks for doing that, girls. Okay, if we're ready to go on to the next section, it is reporting a phishing scam. And we talked about that already a little bit, but we're going to go. Forward all suspicious emails to your school's IT department, which we've talked about that a little bit. If you're unsure about it, send it anyway. I'm sure our IT guys have seen everything. So there's probably no surprise to them, and I'm sure they would much rather you send it than not. Your IT department helps you verify the validity of the of the message.
Tongue twister.
Yes, they will definitely help you out there. And like I said, I called him last year to come down. Super nice. He said that he would much rather do that than have it turn the other way. So
yeah, it's just like reporting a safety hazard in a hallway. By reporting like a phishing email, you're making sure that others aren't going to be hurt. And if the IT department knows that this is going around, then they can send out an email to everyone being like, hey, this is fake. Don't click on it. For those people who aren't going to take the time to read into it, just to give them a general announcement. So this is our red flag recap. These are the 4 things that you should look for. And if you see them, you should be questioning it a little bit. So 1, they have a different sender address from what you're expecting. Typically Gmail, or it has like numbers in the sender address or whatever. 2, the suspicious links, anything that's asking you to click on something. 3, unusual requests. I've seen this scam go around. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. Hopefully not. But there is a scam going around where someone will pretend to be the principal or superintendent and ask a teacher to buy a bunch of gift cards for a pep rally or like a school assembly or something. And then once they buy those, they're supposed to like give the codes to the principal so that they can use those to give to students. And once they do that, they realize, oh, I've been scammed and I'm not getting that money back. So if you have any unusual requests like that, like your principal's never going to ask you to buy a bunch of gift cards.
And definitely not through an email like this.
And definitely not through an email. So if it's something that you're like, would they really ask me that? Is something that you should reflect on. And then finally, you have the unexpected attachments. If you're getting an email from a student or an administrator and you really weren't expecting anything, then that is a red flag as well.
Again, when in doubt, don't click. Phishing scams may look convincing, but by pausing, inspecting, and reporting, you can definitely protect yourself and your students from these scams.
Good job. So now, let me see if I can.
While she's working on that, the next part is spot the scam. She has, she's got 3 examples, and she's going to take a poll on whether you think this is a legitimate email or if it is a scam. So these are all emails that she has received. So she's setting it up here.
Oh, wow. Sorry, I've just now got access to the chat. And yes, we will be, how are we sharing these slides after? I don't know how this works. So
yeah, I can send it to you, Whitney or Wendy, and then you can put it on the recharge.
Okay, I'm trying to see. I don't think I have permissions to do the polling. So Wendy, if you could just could you make a poll for us, perhaps? Okay, and it's just going to be like a real or fake. So here is example 1. And this is a real email that I have received. Most of these spot the scams are going to come from my email.
Okay, so take just a second there and read through that and see if you think this is a real email, something that, yes, she needs to focus on, or if you think it is a scam.
How many of these do you need? How many options?
3.
3.
Well,
Okay.
we have three different examples. All you need on the poll is just 2 options, real or fake.
Okay, but 3 different real or fakes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks.
No problem.
Where's the poll?
You've been muted this whole time.
Oh,
So
here
if
it is.
we
Okay.
are looking at the first example, I see where, do I need to wait till I see the second and third example before we submit it? Is that correct?
I don't know how Wendy, how's it set up? Do they do all
Wendy,
three at once?
can you do one individual poll at a time?
Yes, ma'am, I sure can.
Thank you.
So you can go ahead and answer the first question, and then I'll relaunch for the second one. No worries, because several people have already answered the first one.
Okay, now I can't find it.
In the interest of time, I am going to just go ahead and review this one. So this is a fake email that I did receive.
Does anybody want to say why you think it might be a fake email or a real one? Did
Is it
anybody see
because it
anything?
said to download it on your phone?
So
Okay.
they did say, yeah, they said download the Microsoft app, the Microsoft Teams app, but they didn't really give me a link there. However, the biggest red flag for me is that they say to contact this person after you've done that. And they will give you further instructions. And if you look at that email of the hiring manager, the name is Manson with 2 N's at engineer.com.
And then that's different than what it says at the beginning where it says welcome to Manson Engineering. It just has 1 N up there. But on the address, the email address that she's got highlighted there, it has 2 N's.
Yeah, and then they also sign off with best regards human resources. They don't give a name. They don't give any contact information. They just say best regards human resources. And if you will see, this email was flagged by my system to see as junk. But if you actually look at who sent it to me, so their display name does read Manson Engineering Ltd. But if you look at who actually sent it, it's Sarah Rittenor 67 at gmail.com. That's definitely not the email that someone from an engineering firm would be asking me to interview from.
But just a normal person seeing this, I can see where you wouldn't, like,
Right.
a red flag wouldn't pop up.
Yes. I had to read it like 3 different times and I knew that it was a fake email, but I still could not find why it was fake until I read it about 3 different times. And then we talked about it. And she said, oh, yeah, this is why. So, and then it made sense. Are you ready for the next one?
Yeah. So this is example 2. And we do have the poll somewhere. There we go. For the second example. So just answer that first one, whether or not you think it's real or fake. Okay, so this one is a real email.
Okay, good job, guys.
So with this one, I should have said ahead of time that we should not be considering the highlighted part. That was just because I was going through my emails to find examples. But this is a real email that I received for an interview. It comes from a law firm, and if you look, they do have all of the contact information on the bottom. It's easily verifiable that this Joseph Kang does in fact work there, and that this is his email. As well as since it is a .com email, which is not which can kind of be a red flag in some cases, but it comes straight from what is GHS LLP, which is the name of this law firm. So this was actually a real email that I received, and it was specific enough that I did recognize that. And yeah, sorry about the highlighting, my bad.
And she was able to go actually to their website. So it was a legit website. She was able to research the attorneys here. So she was able to find out more information before she actually did contact them back. And had a really good interview, by the way, for a position in Baltimore.
Stop.
Okay.
Okay, so here is example 3, and this is our final example. Oh, and also, yes, ignore the highlighting because this was someone searching through their inbox to find this. Ooh, it's 9:55. So let me hurry up real quick. So a lot of you guys said this is fake. Yay, because this is fake. With this one really threw me off because this one does have the school district's like little logo on there, which is really tricky. And if you're not looking at it for too long, you are going to think this is a real email, especially because they start with this: our aim is to provide guidance and align our behaviors. It sounds like it's something that could be plausible. However, it was the bad grammar usage for me. Yep. And yes, and the word institution instead of the actual business name. Absolutely. So as you'll notice, they don't use the actual name. So they say, we'll take disciplinary action against the employee concerned. Employment with the institution. They're not really clear in that. In addition, you do have this small, yes, the capitalization. And you do have this small threat that makes you want to click on it. They're like, we have to abide by these guidelines. If not, we take disciplinary action. Therefore, click on all this stuff. This is a case where you definitely send this to the IT department. Because even if you take enough time to read it, and you are able to figure that out, that you know that there's going to be people in your school district that would fall for this. So this is something that the IT department absolutely needs to know about. Let them review it and make the call. This actually came from a real school district. This was a real scam email. Well, real scam email, that doesn't make sense. But this was a scam email that they received. And their IT department actually sent out a message about this saying, don't click on this. But yeah, that was the end of that. Thanks so much. I know we went a little bit over time, but we had some really good participation. So
yeah, and thanks for doing that, guys. Good questions.
It was good to get some questions answered and to get some participation on that.
Thank you all so much. And I owe an apology to you all. At the very beginning of the meeting, I did not do what I was supposed to do. So allow me to very quickly do a formal introduction. We had some technical difficulties, and I will explain to everyone. Apparently, one of the groups still had this main meeting on their computer, so they could hear everything that we were saying. So if you all heard me with the phone and me saying, go ahead and get started, one of the other groups could hear from their computer.
No.
So I was discombobulated and I was trying to help another group. So I did not do a formal introduction. So allow me to do that really quickly before we leave. This was an amazing session. I love it. It was so great. But presenting for us today was Miss Karen Garland from Knox County. She is an amazing recharge leader who I love dearly. And I hate that I didn't do a formal introduction.
Oh, that's
At
okay.
Lynn Camp, and this was amazing. So I know that I seemed crazy, but everybody was calling me and they were like, Wendy, we can hear everything that you all were saying. And I was like, how is that possible? We're in 2 different Zoom rooms. So they had our main room open on one of their computers. They were using 2 computers. So that's what was going on. So I do apologize that I seemed like crazy chaotic.
What's funny, Wendy, is I was going to introduce myself too.
Well, I was like, what's going on? I was like, go ahead and get started. And I was like, oh, how is that possible? So you all did a fantastic job. And so much of that was so beneficial to all of us. And there were great questions, and thank you for your participation. I will let you all know that the next session starts at 10:10. So we did build in time for you to go to the restroom, get a cup of coffee, or grab you a Coke. If you wanted to grab a breakfast bar or whatever, because that was some of your feedback from last year, is that we did those back-to-back sessions and you didn't have time to go to the bathroom, all of that. So we will begin again your next session at 10:10. You can join us, stay in this room if you want, because we'll have Sheena Kegley, who's going to talk about our peer-to-peer reflection slides. It'll be great. Or you feel free to join a new Zoom room. And I'm going to put that session slide in the chat. So let me do that for you right now. So you feel free to stay with me or join another Zoom room. The grant schedule is now in the chat. I will stop recording on this session. Again, Karen, you all did fantastic. It was great. But you do have until 10:10 before the next session will start. So
Well, I'm definitely going to say that if I didn't have my sidekick here, there's no way I would have gotten through this. So
your sidekick is amazing.
Yes,
and
I
as
agree.
are
Thank you.
So,
Thank you
and
guys for having me.
we can all say we've been trained by someone from MIT. How
Exactly.
amazing is that?
Yes.
So, thank you all so much, and I will see you all, some of you again, at 10:10.